Welcome back. Now that we've connected and set up the printer, let's take a look at how to manage that printer. Start once again by clicking the Start button, then back into Settings and Devices, and then Printers and Scanners on the left. Now we see our list of printers again. Click once on the printer you want to manage. I'll select the LaserJet printer that I installed in the last lesson. We have a few options now. Let's look at Manage first, so click the Manage button. If you're not sure whether the printer is working or not, or if the printout seems to be a little faded or misaligned, but you're not sure whether it's the document you're trying to print or if it's the printer itself, then you can try clicking this Print a Test Page link here. This will send a single page document to the printer. It contains a load of configuration information which can be useful, but the main reason for clicking this link is to see if you get a printout at all. If not, then there is a communication issue between the computer and the printer. Perhaps a cable has come loose or the printer is out of paper. At the top is a button to open the print queue. Click this and we get a new window. The print queue shows you everything lined up to print. If you're just printing a few pages at home, then this will mostly be empty. But if you are printing to a shared printer in a busy office, then you may see a long list of documents. From here you can see where yours is in the queue. So if you have a several hundred page document in front of yours, then you know it's not worth running over to the printer to see if yours is printed yet. Let me click the Print a Test Page link again with the queue still open. You can see that it appears in the queue and then goes through a few stages. First it says printing. This is a little misleading. It actually means it's preparing it to print, not physically printing the document yet. Then it will say sent to printer. Once it says this, you should see or at least hear the printer starting to print your document. Once it's printed, it leaves this here for a few seconds until it's had confirmation back from the printer that it has completed. It then removes the print job from the queue. So now I've taken all the paper out of the printer. Let's try printing a document and see what happens this time. I'll use the Print a Test Page link again and we see the test page or job appear in the print queue. Initially it has the status of printing again, but after a few seconds it realises there is a problem. Notice the title bar of the print queue indicates that we are out of paper. And back in our settings page we see that the printer status is out of paper. If I were to put more paper in, then after a short time the document should resume printing, but this can take a while to start again. On the left of the Windows Settings window we have Printer Properties. This shows us various settings for the printer. Notice on the first tab, General, we can see we have the option again to print a test page. This is a printer connected directly to my network, so the location we have a network address. If this was a printer connected by USB, you should see USB with some other details in here. We can also see the model number. The Preferences button near the bottom allows us to change things like the page orientation or whether to print in colour or black and white. Most bigger printers have multiple trays for loading paper. You may have normal paper in one tray, larger paper in a second, and letter-headed paper in a third tray. From here we can specify the default tray or source that the printer will use. If you only want to use a different tray occasionally, then you can do this when you print a document. We'll look at doing this in the next video. At this point I'm selecting the tray it will use by default. Back on the Printer Properties dialog box we have several tabs. You shouldn't need to worry about most of these. The Sharing tab allows you to share the printer so that other people connected to the same network can print to this printer. The Ports allows us to change the port or socket plug that the printer is connected to. This should only really be needed in extreme troubleshooting cases. The Advanced tab has a few options that are mostly used in business environments. The Colour Management tab allows us to fine-tune colour settings. Sometimes what you print out can look rather different to how it looks on the screen, at least as far as colour representation goes. From here we can fine-tune this so we get a better match between the two. Security again is for business environments where we can say who has permission to use the printer, and device settings allows us to specify the type of paper available in the different trays. So I can say A4 in tray 1, A3 in tray 2. If I send an A3 document to the printer, then it will automatically use tray 2. I'm just going to close this dialog box. If you've made any changes, then you must click OK at the bottom, otherwise it won't remember the changes that you've made. To close the window without saving the changes, either click the cross in the top right or click Cancel at the bottom. The Apply button will save any changes you have made without closing the window. So OK saves changes and closes the window, Cancel closes the window without saving changes, and Apply saves changes but doesn't close the window. This is the case anytime you see these three buttons at the bottom of the window. Back in Windows Settings page again, we have Printing Preferences. This just loads the window we've already seen that allows us to change the defaults for the printer, such as printing in black and white and colour. The hardware properties is a bit beyond the level of this course. It lets us delve further into the specific settings of the printer, such as the driver details. Then we have the Open Printer app, but this will depend on the printer that you have. In my case, it's another way of getting into various settings for the printer, but may look different and have different options for you. If I click the back arrow in the top left, that takes me back to the list of printers attached to the computer. Now scroll down the list. At the bottom we have the option Allow Windows to manage my default printer, which by default is ticked. With this option selected, whichever printer you used last will be the printer selected the next time. So if I have a couple of printers attached, let's say one black and white and another full colour, the black and white is cheaper to run, so that's the one I normally use. But I have a poster I want to print in colour, so I change the printer and print this in colour. I'll show you how to do this in the next lesson. Now the next time I go to print, even if it's a different file printing a different program, it will default to the last used printer, in other words the colour. If I untick this box, then it will always default to using the same printer. To set the default printer, click it once in the list of printers and scanners. Then click Manage. With this option I just mentioned unticked, we now have a button to set as default. Just click this to set the default of this printer. This can also be done from the Print Queue window. Click Open Queue button for a selected printer. Then, on the new window that appears, select Printer from the menu. And we can see the option to set as default. We also see options that we have looked at previously, including Printing Preferences and Properties, which opens up the printer properties again. If we select a document in the queue and then select the document menu, we have a few actions we can do with the selected document. Pause will suspend the selected job. This could be used if we have a few items in the queue and one further down the list is urgent. We can pause the earlier ones, allowing the urgent job to print sooner. Restart will just restart or resend the document to the printer. This may be used if there was a problem during printing, for example a paper jam in the printer that crumpled several pages of the document. You can use this to restart the document. Cancel will remove the selected job from the queue. Selecting this for the job that is currently printing won't halt the current print run. You are better off cancelling the current print job from the actual printer. They normally have a button to cancel the current job. This option on the menu could be used when multiple copies of the same job have been sent to the printer. The properties option allows us to change things such as the priority of the job or schedule the job for a different time. Again, only really useful in a busy business environment. In this lesson, we have looked at how to manage printers. This has included printing a test page to see if the printer is working, how to access the printer properties where we can change things such as printing preferences of paper orientation, size, and which tray the printer uses. We have looked at setting the default printer and how to manage the print queue for a printer, including how to pause a print job, restart a print job, or cancel a job. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.